Samantha Ricketts, the head coach for Mississippi State softball. A historic day yesterday, Coach, for you and your program. What is it like to coach 4 straight elimination games and win them all?
Oh, man. I mean, it's just surreal. I mean, we finished that 4th game. It felt like, all right, when's the 5th? We're ready to go. Put us right back out there. I think just so much resiliency from this group. I think really running off the momentum, the confidence, the kind of delusional late hour energy that we had flowing through. And I don't know if we really have a lot of words right now. Everybody's kind of running on a lack of sleep, but just a lot of fun. And I just think ready to continue to compete. Everybody was ready to get back out there. Who's the next opponent?
Is the word surreal sort of the right word for this moment for you?
Yes, definitely. I think that's a good word for everyone. A lot of, did that just happen type comments coming from the players, from the staff, the fans, and really just, proud of this group, for this program, for the alumni. We had so many of them reaching out, and just a big testament to everyone who has put in the time and the work to build up this program to get us to this step and to make history, and especially for these current girls on the field. And you've got, Mia Davidson, who's an all-time home run leader in the SEC, and just for her to choose Mississippi State with this goal in mind, to make history, to take this program to a level it's never been before, and to see her accomplish that out there with, her fellow upperclassmen, with her sister, just so special. Just hard not to cry when you're going through a moment like that.
Speaking of crying, we got to go back to last season a little bit, because you had a tough stretch there. You started off 0-13 in the conference. Then you won 8 of your final 10 games in SEC play. How much of that tough stretch built into what this team became this season and what they were able to do?
Yeah, I think last season's SEC start really did play a huge part in this season. It was something we didn't shy away from talking about. It wasn't like, let's just leave that start in the past. It was, what did we learn last year? What lessons can we take away from that 0-13 start, and how can we build off that moving forward? And, it continued into this season with our tough opening weekend. We played 2 of the top 5 teams in the country our first weekend out. Didn't really play that well against them, and we said, okay, what can we learn? How can we get better? How can we continue to grow and compete to set us up for what our goals are at the end of the year? So I think just their willingness to be mature, to learn, to want to grow and want to get better has really just kind of led them to this moment, and something that, it wasn't just a hot weekend. It was a long time coming for this program and this team.
When you have elimination games, especially when you're going to play a stretch of them, eventually you have to have that one pitching performance that sort of sets the tone and gives you that momentum. I thought Aspen Wesley gave that to you yesterday. 7 shutout innings against the Florida State offense, which had been so good all season long. I know toughness is a word you like to use. How much toughness did she show you yesterday?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she was nails out there yesterday, and we don't win that regional without Aspen and that performance she gave us. She never blinked. She went out there and competed, was so composed and confident in the circle, and she knew what her goal was, and it was to continue to play, to fight another day, to get Annie another chance back out on the mound, get her a little bit of rest, and just to have that performance in someone, particularly a Mississippi product, Neshoba Central, and someone where playing for Mississippi State, having that name across the front of her chest just means so much to her, and she represents this university, this state, everybody back home on her tribe just so well. Just so happy for her and what she was able to do for us in that moment, in that game, and really all season long.
You mentioned her a minute ago, but Mia Davidson, more than just a softball player for Mississippi State, one of the greatest athletes in Mississippi State history in terms of the record she holds and all that she's been able to do. She's a person who's gotten a lot of notoriety from former Bulldogs. Rafael Palmeiro might be her biggest fan outside of her own family. What is her legacy at Mississippi State?
I think it's that. It's more than just Mia Davidson, the softball player, just who she is as a person, as a leader, and everything that she leaves behind. Her legacy is going to be taking this team to a place it's never been, for making history, and it's going to be her, leading the charge there. And I think that's why she chose this program. That's why she stuck through it all, through the ups and downs, the highs and lows. She wanted to play with her sister, and for Montana to come back for year 6 after dealing with injuries and COVID and everything thrown at her, to see the 2 of them out there doing it together and celebrating and just realizing that accomplishment of, hey, we did it. We took this program where we wanted to go, and we're not done yet. Just super proud of both of them. Mia and Montana, that fight they've shown and that resiliency to really kind of push this program forward.
Obviously, in all the hubbub yesterday of winning the game, that's exciting enough. When did you find out that Missouri had lost in their regional and that you would be hosting?
It was actually in that last game in my fourth inning mid-game interview. So on the lead-in, they mentioned that Arizona had upset Missouri and they were awaiting the winner of our game that was happening right there. And so I heard it on my headset. I kind of looked towards Coach Bratton. I looked at the team. And before that fifth inning where we scored the 3 runs, I called him in and I let him know the news. We talked about it and said, let's tell him. Why not? Let's give him a little bit more incentive. And they were fired up to hear that if we came back and won that game, we were going to be hosting a super regional in Starkville, and went out and immediately made our comeback, scored 3 runs, and just shut it down the rest of the way.
What kind of crowds are you expecting to see this weekend?
Oh, we're so excited for this crowd. It's going to be record-breaking. We're going to pack people in every nook and cranny we can in News Park, and just excited to bring this back to Starkville for the fan base, for the alumni that we can get back in here, for the families, and the fans that have been with us, all year long as well. We're excited for it. I know that, the athletic department's going all out, bringing in everything they can to fit people in here and make it a top-notch experience for both teams involved and all the fans. So we're excited. We're ready. We know it's going to be a busy week, but we're just trying to stay focused on Friday and playing one game at a time.
I think I know this, and you know this, and I don't know how many of our listeners know this, but to say softball is in your blood might be a little bit of an understatement. You have a great legacy in the game. Your family does as well. What does this moment mean to you just on a personal level?
I don't know if I've really even thought about that yet. For me, it's just kind of using that experience and where the game has taken me and how I can give back to this team and this program and this university, and just kind of give that experience. And that was the talk on the bus today. It was, hey, all right, this is somewhere where this program hasn't been, but I have. Here's how it's going to be. Here's what kind of you can expect of the week, and here's how we need to approach it. So I think just they've bought in really well to the coaching staff, to our approach all year long, and just continuing to use that to drive us forward, and just trust in the plan, and using that experience that I've been blessed to have in my playing career and coaching career to help set this team up for this weekend.
One thing I've said a bunch of times is that when we're talking about the SEC, softball might be the most difficult sport to win in. Every team, it seems, is good, and that's sort of a new thing. You know this as well as anybody. The West Coast dominated softball for so long, but now the SEC has sort of stepped into the fray there. How do you feel about where your program sits amongst the power programs in the SEC?
I mean, the SEC is just such a grind. It's week in and week out. There's no team you can take for granted, and at any given day, any team can beat anyone. I think we saw that last year with Georgia finishing 11th in the conference and going to the World Series, and then us, with our upset this past weekend, and also finishing 11th in the regular season. So, I think for us, it's just the league has grown, the sport has grown, the competition is just great from coast to coast, and so are the players. I think a big part of it has been just the increase in the coverage, and there's so many more fans out there. The TV coverage, the fan coverage that's coming in now for the sport of softball is really, I think, helping it grow just across the nation. I think there's a reason that the state of Oklahoma produces so many great softball players. It's because of how good OU has been for so long, and we're excited to do our part to grow the game across the nation, across the South, and across the state of Mississippi. So, I think the SEC sets us all up for that, and just making sure that we're ready to go and we can treat the Super Regional like another SEC weekend for us.
We got about a minute left. I know you're going to give me the coach speak. We take it one game. I know, but I'm going to ask anyway. Have you allowed yourself to just for a moment think about Oklahoma City yet? In glimpses, but really try not to. And yes, it is coach speak, but it also has to be the motto. And it was the focus for the team this past weekend. It was, we cannot look ahead to a potential super with Missouri, who we took a series from. That's too big. It was too big of a picture. It would have put too much pressure on us. We cannot look ahead to Florida State, a number 2 seed, a team that is a perennial powerhouse. That we have to start with South Florida and their great team and pitcher that we knew they were going to roll out on Friday. So I just think if you can be in the moment and be where your feet are, that's going to give us our best chance. And that's going to be the same focus for right now. We talked about enjoying this moment, enjoying the fans celebrating us when we got back to Starkville.
but then being ready to be in the moment when we get back to work and practice in the weight room and just going day to day, controlling what we can control and enjoying our teammates and everyone that we're around there.
It's going to be